This liquid took 18 months to create, and the best bottles sell for over $100 each. Inside this facility on Vietnam's Phu Quoc Island, over 3,000 fermentation barrels are aging simultaneously. What is inside these barrels is one of the oldest fermented foods on Earth, a tradition stretching back 2,000 years. That rich amber color takes months to develop. Fresh anchovies and sea salt slowly breaking down into pure, concentrated umami. From raw fish to liquid gold, every bottle contains the essence of thousands of anchovies and a year and a half of patience. We'll follow every step, from ocean catch to the first drop of sauce, that takes 18 months to earn its name. Phu Quoc Island sits in the Gulf of Thailand. Its warm, shallow waters produce the specific anchovy species that defines premium fish sauce. These are black anchovies, CI then caught within hours of the factory to guarantee freshness. These nets use a 3mm mesh, small enough to catch anchovies but large enough to release juvenile fish and maintain sustainable stocks. The fleet departs before 5 in the morning. Fishing grounds lie between 8 and 20 kilometers offshore in water, less than 30 meters deep. A single fishing boat brings in between 2 and 4 tons per trip, and this factory needs over 500 tons per year. By 7 in the morning, the dock is a frenzy of activity. Every hour of delay between ocean and barrel reduces the final sauce quality. Dockside testing rejects entire boatloads if freshness scores fall below threshold. The fishermen only get paid for accepted catch. The trip from dock to factory takes less than 40 minutes. The anchovies must arrive before their body enzymes begin degrading. Quality inspectors reject any catch showing signs of bruising, discoloration, or temperature abuse. Only the freshest fish enter production. Clear eyes, firm bodies, intact scales, 3 indicators that these anchovies were caught within the last 6 hours. Sorting removes any bycatch, crabs, shrimp, seaweed, and non-target fish species that would alter the fermentation flavor. Mechanical mixers handle the initial blending, but the final layering into barrels is always done by hand to control the compression. This isn't table salt. It is unrefined solar evaporated sea salt with over 80 trace minerals that contribute subtle flavor complexity. The second ingredient, coarse sea salt harvested from Phu Quoc's own salt flats. Nothing else goes in, just fish and salt. The ratio is sacred, 3 parts fish to 1 part salt by weight. Too much salt and fermentation stalls. Too little and the fish rot. Each barrel holds 1.5 tons of fish salt mixture, and once sealed, it won't be opened for at least 12 months. On a peak production day, the team fills 30 to 40 barrels, each one representing a future batch of premium sauce. Layering is done by hand, alternating fish and salt in precise measured layers that promote even fermentation from top to bottom. Air pockets create anaerobic dead zones where harmful bacteria thrive. Every centimeter must be uniformly packed. Heavy stone weights compress the mixture. Within hours, the first trickle of amber liquid rises to the surface. That first amber liquid is called MAM, the raw precursor that will deepen in color and complexity over the next 18 months. Red ink date tags are a centuries-old tradition. Each barrel's birthday written in the same calligraphy style used since the factory's founding. Once sealed, these barrels enter the longest and most critical phase, the fermentation that transforms fish into liquid gold. This is the fermentation cathedral. 3,000 barrels aging in controlled tropical heat. The oldest barrels in this row are approaching 24 months, a premium grade that commands the highest price. Most of the fermentation process requires nothing but time. These barrels sit undisturbed for months between inspections. Sampling tubes draw sauce from the middle of the barrel. Surface and bottom readings can differ from the representative core. Every barrel is tagged with its birth date, batch number, and salt ratio, the fingerprint that follows the sauce to the bottle. The master sauce maker checks each barrel monthly, tasting, smelling, and measuring the nitrogen content that indicates protein breakdown. 35 years of experience. He can tell the fermentation stage by color alone, from pale gold at 3 months to deep mahogany at 18. Nitrogen content above 30 grams per liter earns the highest classification. Fukuoka's equivalent of extra virgin olive oil. Specific gravity decreases as proteins break down. The hydrometer tracks the invisible chemistry happening inside each barrel. Fukuoka's tropical climate provides natural warmth. Barrel interiors stay between 35 and 40 degrees year-round, without any heating. The transformation is visible. 3 months of patience produces something unrecognizable from the starting material. At 12 months, the anchovies have completely dissolved. Nothing remains but concentrated liquid, umami, and a sediment of fish bones. This biofilm is a living ecosystem. Trillions of halophilic bacteria working together to decompose 2 tons of fish into pure liquid flavor. The first extraction draws from the bottom, where gravity has pulled the densest, most concentrated liquid over months of settling. This first press is called Nuak Mam Mai Si, the purest extraction, worth 10 times the price of subsequent pressings. After the first extraction, salt brine is poured back through the residue to create second and third pressings, progressively lighter in flavor and price. The visual difference is immediate, and so is the price difference. Unfiltered sauce sells for $8. Filtered first press sells for over $100. The spent residue contains concentrated calcium and phosphorus. Pepper farmers on Fukuoka compete to buy it as organic fertilizer. First press at 40 grams nitrogen per liter, second at 25, third at 15. The chemistry determines the price tier. On any given day, barrels at every stage coexist in this hall, filling, fermenting, extracting, and recycling in continuous rotation. Nothing is wasted. Spent fish residue becomes high-nitrogen organic fertilizer for Fukuoka's pepper farms. Raw extracted sauce is rich in flavor but cloudy with suspended particles. The filtration lab transforms it into crystal clear liquid. Gravity settling is the gentlest method. The sauce sits undisturbed for 2 weeks as particles drift to the bottom. The difference between the top and bottom of this column is the difference between a $5 bottle and a $100 bottle. Turbidity must register below 1 NTU, nephelometric turbidity units, on the laser scatter test before the sauce can proceed to bottling. Multi-stage filtration removes any remaining particles. The final product must be perfectly transparent when held to light. That rich amber glow with zero cloudiness, the mark of properly filtered first press Fukuoka fish sauce. K-Geldol analysis measures total nitrogen, the gold standard for classifying fish sauce into premium grades. Microbiological safety testing screens for Salmonella, Listeria, and E. coli. Any positive result destroys the entire batch. This certificate confirms the batch meets Fukuoka's protected geographical indication standards, the equivalent of Champagne's AOC designation. That geographical indication seal is legally protected. Factories outside Fukuoka using the name face prosecution and product seizure. A trained sensory panel evaluates every batch, scoring aroma complexity, salt balance, umami depth, and aftertaste length on a 20-point scale. Master tasters can distinguish between 12 and 18-month fermentation by aroma alone. The longer sauce develops deeper caramel and dried fruit notes. Premium consistency requires artful blending. Sauce from multiple barrels is combined to achieve the brand's signature flavor profile. The blending recipe changes with every production cycle. No 2 batches of barrels ferment identically, despite identical inputs. The head blender works from decades of taste memory, adjusting ratios barrel by barrel until the blend matches the house standard perfectly, from 3,000 fermentation barrels down to a single bottling line. This is where 18 months of patience meets the consumer. Every bottle is steam, sterilized at 120 degrees before filling. Any bacterial contamination would ruin the product. 6 nozzles filling simultaneously at 60 bottles per minute, each receiving exactly 500 milliliters within 1% accuracy. UV surface sterilization is the final safety step before capping, killing any surface bacteria without heating the sauce. That deep amber glow is 18 months of chemistry made visible, proteins broken into amino acids, sugars caramelized, flavors concentrated. Tamper-evident caps seal each bottle. A broken ring on opening guarantees no one has accessed the contents. Labels carry the protected geographical indication seal, proof the sauce was produced on Fuquos Island using traditional methods. Human inspectors catch what machines miss, fill levels off by 2%, labels misaligned by a millimeter, cap seals that don't sit flush. Rejection rate averages 4%, mostly cosmetic defects that don't affect the sauce, but would diminish the premium brand perception. Heat-shrink tamper bands provide visible proof of integrity. A broken band means the bottle should never be consumed. Laser-engraved batch codes are permanent and tamper-proof, scannable for full traceability back to the specific barrel. 6 bottles per case, 48 cases per Pascal let. Each pallet represents the output of roughly 4 fermentation barrels. The warehouse holds up to 3 months of inventory. Over 100,000 bottles waiting for shipment to 40 countries. The largest orders come from the Vietnamese diaspora communities in the United States, France, Australia, and Japan. The United States receives the largest share. Vietnamese, American communities consume more premium fish sauce per capita than consumers in Vietnam itself. The charring depth must reach exactly 4 millimeters. Too shallow and the wood leaches tannins. Too deep and the barrel weakens. Every export shipment carries a certificate of origin. Counterfeiting Fuquoc fish sauce is a growing problem the industry is fighting. Fuquoc's fish sauce carries geographical protection, similar to Champagne or Parmigiano Reggiano. Only sauce made here from local anchovies can bear the name. The premium gift line retails for over $100 per bottle, presented in hand-finished wooden cases with individual batch certificates, batch number, barrel date, nitrogen content, master blender's signature. This certificate makes each bottle individually traceable. Even at midnight, the fermentation continues. 3,000 barrels of fish and salt slowly transforming in the tropical darkness. Hand-wrapped gift boxes target the holiday gifting market. Lunar New Year alone accounts for 30% of annual premium sales. In Vietnamese cuisine, premium fish sauce isn't a condiment. It is the foundation, the first ingredient that determines every dish's depth. From street food to Michelin-starred restaurants, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary often comes down to the grade of fish sauce. International food critics now rank premium fish sauce alongside fine wines and aged balsamic, a condiment elevated to connoisseur status. The science behind the flavor, glutamic acid concentration in premium fish sauce, rivals pure Miss G at over 1,200 milligrams per liter. International buyer visits happen weekly. Importers from Europe, North America, and Asia compete for allocation of the limited first press production. Recent research suggests certain fermentation byproducts in fish sauce have natural antimicrobial properties, a potential avenue for food preservation science. 18 months of fermentation produces a natural umami bomb. No artificial additives needed when biology does the work. Halophilic bacteria, salt-loving microorganisms, are the invisible workforce. They break down fish protein into the amino acids that create umami flavor. pH monitoring tracks fermentation health. A sudden drop indicates problematic bacterial contamination that could ruin the entire barrel. Water seal airlocks allow fermentation gases to escape while preventing oxygen from entering, maintaining the anaerobic conditions essential for proper breakdown. The factory maintains its own cooperage. These tropical hardwood barrels last 20 to 30 years, but require constant maintenance. Each barrel takes 3 days to build by hand. The wood is charred on the inside to prevent leaching and add subtle flavor notes. That char layer serves double duty. It seals the wood grain against leaks and contributes caramel compounds that deepen the sauce's color. At any time, 50 to 60 barrels are in various stages of repair. The cooperage runs year-round to keep 3,000 barrels operational. 500 tons of anchovies per year requires 167 tons of sea salt, enough to fill 3 Olympic swimming pools. The salt itself is local, harvested from Fukuoka's coastal evaporation ponds using methods unchanged for centuries. These salt flats produce over 10,000 tons of sea salt annually, enough to supply every fish sauce factory on the island. Unrefined sea salt contains trace minerals absent in industrial salt, another factor that distinguishes artisan sauce from mass-produced alternatives. 300 liters of first-press sauce per Dalton Y, 1,200 bottles, 48 cases. The daily rhythm of a facility that never stops. 3,000 barrels, 500 tons of anchovies, 18 months of patience, and one question that has driven this industry for 2,000 years. Is it ready? Only one person makes that call, and he has been making it for 35 years. 3 generations of his family have held this position. The knowledge passes not through textbooks, but through 10,000 tastings. Some barrels in this section have been continuously fermenting sauce for over 20 years. The wood itself now contributes flavor, like an aged whiskey cask. His apprentice has been training for 7 years, and still hasn't been trusted with a final blending decision. Every morning starts the same way. Open the hall, check the barrels, taste the progress, plan the day. 1 island, 2 ingredients, 18 months, and a product that hasn't fundamentally changed since the Roman Empire made garum. Hold it to the light. Genuine first-press Fukuoka sauce has a depth of color that industrial alternatives cannot replicate. 18 months ago, this was fresh anchovies and sea salt. Today, it is one of the most complex fermented foods ever created by human hands. $100 per bottle, 18 months of waiting, 2 ingredients, and a flavor that defines an entire cuisine. This factory has operated continuously since 1956. 3 generations of the same family, preserving a tradition that predates their nation. From fishing boat to fermentation barrel to your table, liquid gold made with nothing but fish, salt, and time. Tomorrow those boats will bring fresh anchovies, and in 18 months, someone will pour this very batch over a bowl of pho, tasting 2,000 years of tradition in a single drop. If this process fascinated you, subscribe and turn on notifications. We go inside a new factory every week. Next time, inside the silk factory, where 3,000 silkworm cocoons become a single meter of $500 fabric.